I'd like to call this meeting to order for May 19th, 2026. Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Taylor?
Here.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Here.
Commissioner Ranello?
Present.
Commissioner Considine?
Here.
Mayor Dixon?
Here. Please rise and join me with a salute to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we do need to add a resolution authorizing closed session for the discussion on personnel matters.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we have now reached the public comment portion on the agenda items only. Anyone who would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name and address and your concerns. Since there will be a lot of people, we are, as usual, limiting the comments to 5 minutes per person. If you'd like to make comments, please approach the podium, state your name and address, and state your concerns.
Lynn Pareca, Millville. I wanted to know why the budget wasn't discussed in the recent work session, because this is very important. It should have been discussed on Monday, because y'all should know what everybody's doing in every department. I wanted to know why the budget and the presentation wasn't online, so we would have a chance to look at it. 15 minutes before the meeting isn't really enough time for the public to be able to logically discuss it and to grasp everything that's in it. And I don't know what the presentation's covering, but what I was interested in, and I'm sure Trish will do it because I know she'll do a good job, I didn't know how the $1.9 million assessment error that happened last year affected the budget. Okay. I didn't know, I couldn't tell from the report, there was one place where it said 8.48 and one place it said 12 cents, the difference. So I wasn't sure what the real tax increase was going to be. I didn't know what other charges of 1.5 million were. That was an increase of 1.5 million, just not. And the other thing is salaries increased 1.6 million. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pareca. Thank you. Seeing no one at the podium, I will close the public comment portion. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
Yes, my name is Cindy Hamblin. I'm a resident of Millville. I would like to know, as of right now, what is your AI data center decision? Is it all banned? Everyone? Because I've seen multiple things. I know there's things on the internet that are not true. But I saw an article in there, I got upset about this. AI data center transforms former glass factory into power-driven innovative campus in Millville. Web3 wire on the internet. Is any of this true?
Ma'am, if you stick around for the meeting, you'll find out very quickly.
Okay, because I thought like last month it was decided everyone was banned. And I have a question about this RAB, redevelopment area bond. Is this a backdoor to try to get an AI data center into Millville? Because that's what I was concerned about this. It's not. Okay, definitely not. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because I'm speaking for a bunch of citizens, we don't want it. No way. I want to hear the birds sing outside, and I want to enjoy my water, and I want to breathe fresh air. Please, no AI data center.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one approach the podium, I will close comment portion to agenda items only. Madam Clerk, presentations, do we have any?
Yes, Mayor, we have the 2026 municipal budget presentation by Chief Financial Officer Tricia McGahey.
Test my mouse. Just testing. All right. Well, thank you guys all for coming. I know some of you aren't here for the budget, but unfortunately, you have to sit through the presentation. So I'll try to talk as fast as possible. The air conditioning is on, but it is a little cozy in here. This presentation is probably a little bit more than what the city's seen in the past. I'm a little extra. I like to do some historical slides. It is my first official budget with the city, so I delved into a lot of the historical numbers, which the past tells a picture of the future. So just to get us started. So just to go over the timeline process to actually adopt the budget. So tonight on the agenda is the resolution to intro it. We have to then have a public hearing that would be scheduled June 16th. If there's any amendments, that could be held on that date. And then the adoption would also be on June 16th. You have to have at least 28 days in between intro and adoption to be able to vote for that. And the advertisement for the budget just has to go out 10 days prior. And then I'd have just a little caveat to say it is majority of full membership, which means 3 of the 5, 3 yeses to proceed to the next steps. So I always like to kind of give kind of like budget 101s. It's, I came from corporate many years ago. Corporate accounting is very different than government accounting. So the functionality of the government and financial regulations are set by a lot of laws and statutes that are defined by the various admin codes and ongoing local finance notices. New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, also known as the DCA, is in charge of issuing the ongoing local finance notices throughout the year. New Jersey municipalities and counties are required to follow, or by law, to follow fund accounting versus GAAP accounting that's used in the private sector. Fund accounting is a modified accrual basis of accounting. Fund accounting essentially means there's different funds per each operation, so there's a different, in theory, set of books for the operating, for grants, capital trust, utilities, etc. New Jersey statutes Title 40A is municipal and counties, and Chapter 1 through 67 is what we follow. And NJSA 40A:4-3 is the annual budget section that dictates that the governing body of each local unit shall adopt a budget of each fiscal year. The budget of each local unit shall be prepared on a cash basis unless otherwise permitted by law. Just to continue, the balanced budget concepts of revenues have to equal appropriations or expenses. Current year revenues cannot be anticipated or budgeted in greater amounts than what was received in cash the prior year. There are some exceptions, but the rule is that you can't anticipate more than you received the prior year. Current year levy cap, which is the tax increase, that's limited to a 2.0% increase from the prior budget levy with allowable exceptions. Current year appropriations are generally limited to no more than 2.5%. It was actually 2 this year. The state went back to 2. But with the COLA ordinance, we were allowed to go up to 3.5%. The state allows each year for select appropriations, pension, health benefits, insurance. They're usually the larger year-over-year increases that are anticipated to be outside of the cap, and they have a cap levy calculation that determines what can go outside of the cap calculation. For this year specifically, with the state health insurance increasing, the cap levy was 36.2% of the year-over-year increase. Last year it was 14%. And then budget or balanced budget concept, it makes it illegal to anticipate spending more money than you're able to bring in during the calendar year. And unlike our personal funds, money in the bank does not equal funds ready to be spent. It has to be budgeted. Here's some best practices for revenue. Revenue should be sustainable. Additional revenue received above anticipated builds the fund balance so that you can use in future years. The use of one-time revenues to support operating budgets can be detrimental to future budgets. Limit reliance on excess use of fund balance and to build that rainy day fund. Do not anticipate 100% of revenue received in prior year unless fully certain that the same amount will be regenerated again for the current year. Cannot spend new money received post-budget intro/adoption would be additional fund balance recovery for future years, meaning like if we were to hold a city auction next month, we can't spend that money this year, it has to go into next year's budget. Some appropriation or expense best practices: must budget enough to pay anticipated expenses and provide a buffer for unexpected expenses and/or increases. Must budget enough to cover 100% of all statutory required payments, which are pensions, Social Security tax, debt services, any deferred or judgments. Budgeting for 100% of the organization's needed unfilled positions, maintains positions within the go-forward budget baseline, as well as builds potential fund balance for future years if there's a lapse of unfilled time versus hired start. Cannot transfer funds between accounts into the last 2 months of the current year or first 3 months of the following year, meaning if we were to budget, say overtime, and overtime goes over the last 2 years of the month or the first 3, I can move in between interdepartments to fund that. If there's not enough budgeted and unable to transfer fully, it would create an emergency appropriation, which must be raised in future years' taxes. And then excess appropriation budgeted funds not spent will lapse to fund balance in the future year. So 2026 would, any unspent expenses would lapse in 2027. The year is stayed open for 1 year post the close for any residual bills that come in. 25 will lapse this year into next year's budget, and 24 went into fund balance this year. This is a slide that the tax assessor has to fill out every year. It's on our assessed value. So based off of the data as of October 1st, 2025, we have 8,410 residential partials, and our assessed value is 1.48 billion. And our percentage of exempt versus non-exempt properties is 25%. This next slide is also something the assessor has to provide every year. It's for our long-term pilot, so there's 2 this year, one being the new standards senior living, which was the $19 million assessment clerical error last year. And then the second one is the Glasstown residents. So our pilot billing we're expecting is about $124,000 to come in off of a 25 million assessment value. This crazy graph is the history trend of our net valuation table. Over to the top left is the ratables. The bottom is the penny equivalent, so I always talk about pennies. So this year, our penny was $148,066. It's about 255 increase. I did include a added column in the graph to show if the $19 million error did not occur last year, where our NBT would be. And to answer one of the questions earlier, it was about 3 cents of the tax rate if it wasn't factored in last year, with all things being equal to the 25 budget. So you'll see I pulled data from 2024 to current, and we've only changed less than 1,000 in the penny, so it really hasn't gone up much. And the last time the townwide reval was in 2005. So I don't know when they're going to mandate it. That's for the assessor to deal with, but I would foresee in the foreseeable future, it will be mandated to do a reval. This was our internal budget file buildup. So the whole process is we asked the departments for what they needed for their OE, put in their salaries, put in debt, other statutory expenses, and kind of look to see what the crazy state template exports. So round one, we were at 23% or 32 cents and over the cap. We cut more, went through it. We got it under the cap at 18% or 36, kept cutting, kept adding some revenue to offset, and we're landing at a 12-cent increase, which for the pennies is a 8.48% increase if you do the rate. So this next slide, I know it's a lot of crazy numbers, but again, with it being my first time, I always like to see the trends. On the county website, they list the last historical rate, so that's where I got all this information from. And the left column, if you look at, that's our 12-cent increase for the county. I'm estimating 2.5%. They are going to be introducing their budget next week, but I don't know what our share of the pie is yet. And then the school, I was able to use an actual percentage because they finalized theirs already. Based off of this, one of the questions was asked earlier to me before the meeting, why it says on the bottom left side 7.3%. Why that's not 8.48 is because our net value changed. So it's the same math, but a little different. I know it's confusing, but the rate is the cents is 8.48% increase. And then at the bottom, I have the average assessed property per the assessor is 176,000. So just for our municipal portion, the annual tax increase will be $212, $53 a quarter, or $17 a month. Going to the next slide, this is where I'm saying this was the, on the county website, they go back to 2008 to list the 3 rates. So you'll see like in 2014 to 2017, the rate was essentially 0 for 4 years, no increase. 2018 to 21, it was 12 cents. And then 22 to 25 was 3.3 cents of total increase. In 2024, the municipal rate actually decreased 5 cents, and that was when they established the solid waste utility. So they lowered the municipal rate and then created the solid waste utility. The next slide is the tax levy in a graph to show we are going up 1.5 million, which is the equivalent of the 12 cents. Just see down at the bottom or in the left side, it's kind of flat and then it starts to go up. The next is the famous pie chart that I think everybody puts in their budget presentation. So the municipal makes up about 35.7%. School is 28.38, and county is estimating at 35.92% of our total taxes. The next is our current fund surplus. So again, I went back as far as I could. In calendar year 2024 was when they changed from fiscal to calendar year basis. Between 24 and 2017, the surplus increased 897,000 or 11%. Between 2018 and 2021, it actually reduced by 2.7% or 2.7 million or almost 31%. And then 22 to 25, the net increase was 1.1 million or 18%. And as of right now, we are planning to use 7 million of our surplus for this year's budget to reduce the tax increase. And I know there's a lot of numbers on these pages, but the handouts make it a little easier to see. So the 2026 proposed budget, this slide displays how the state use our revenue. So they review it as surplus, local revenue, state aid, construction, if you have a UCC, construction revenue, shared service, grants, other receipt for delinquent taxes, and then the delta is the tax increase. So we are proposing a $42 million budget. Last year was 40 million. I like to always exclude shared service and grants because they're a one-for-one, so there's a revenue and there's expense that counter each other. With those factored out, we're at a $40.2 million budget versus a $39 million budget. So it's about 1.2 net increase. The local, for the year over year, if you take the local, state aid and other special revenues, actually reduced almost 350,000. And then obviously the offset is our tax increase of 1.5 million. As a net revenue, without shared service and grants, we're going up 3.8%. Last year was 7% increase. Now, I know this is an even busier spreadsheet. This is our revenue by our actual internal categories. So again, we have surplus, we have our licenses, they're limited to what bring in ABC licenses, birth certificates, death certificates. Fees and permits, that's where the inspection department, that's mostly their revenue that they bring in. Municipal court, we have taxes on the tax sale, we have our bank interest, which I did increase our bank interest by 100,000 based off of what we received last year. Then we have some other income, we have a recurring manufacturer home, annual service fee, the cable TV franchise fee, that's from Comcast, so we have nothing, we can't dictate what we get every year, we just get the check in the beginning of the year. It has started to go down a little bit as people have less cable at home. We're going to get less of a fee. And then they have included our EMS services in the top other section. And then we have our state revenue, which I'll get into in a slide down the ways. We have our UCC revenue. And then we kind of have our miscellaneous revenue, which a lot of them are one-time things. So there you could see the very tiny print on the screen. The reds are one-time, one-shots as I call them. The blues for the use of utility surplus from water or sewer. You can use them on an ongoing basis. Obviously, you can't drain the utilities, and you're not supposed to use the utilities to fully offset your general fund. But this shows that the total utility revenue offsets is 700,000. And our one times this year are 707,000 versus last year utility revenues was 670 and one times was 1.1 million. So another lovely pie chart for our 2026 budget revenues. The tax levy is making up 54%, surplus 17%. Local revenue 7%, state aid 10%, UCC 1%, grants 4%, special other special items 5%, and delinquent taxes got cut off at 1%, I think. This is just a line chart to see the ups and downs of how it goes throughout the year, and then our tax levy. Here's the last 7 years of surplus, And the usage, as you can see, last year and this year are the same, which was last year was a large increase from the year prior. So this is a trend of what's considered local revenues, the plus and minuses. Back in 2021 is when the EMS unit was established, so that added 400,000 to our baseline. Or I'm sorry, in 2020 added 400,000. In 2021, they increased it from 400 to 800,000 revenue, so it increased it by 400. You'll see in 22, some of the fees and permits and municipal court were reduced. In 2023, they had a major reduction to bank interest, and there was a recurring, it just said rent Millville on the budget. That's gone away. In 2024, we had a slight reduction to EMS, but it was offset by bank interest. And then in 25, where we had an increase of EMS and another increase of bank interest. And then this year is the 100,000 that I'm adding for more bank interest. But the more you anticipate, the less that will recoup into surplus. This is a graph of the state aid. So a few years ago, the state said, oh, we're gonna give the towns more energy tax. This is many, many years ago. They took it away from the municipalities. Municipalities used to get the energy tax direct. State took it over. They basically gave pennies back to the town. So in 2023, they increased the ERT tax by 29,000. And then post-COVID, the state knew that all the municipalities were all hurting. They gave initially a one-time state municipal relief aid. Millville received 220,000. So that was used in the 23 budget to offset added expenses and not raise the tax rate. In 24, the state said, oh, we're gonna give it to you again, but we're gonna double it. And after that, we're not gonna give you any more money. So that 440,000, or essentially 3 cents, was again baked in as a one-shot deal to offset increases and not increase the tax base. And then in 25 and 26, they said, we're not giving you any extra. The special items of revenue. I was doing this graph to answer your question earlier why the budget presentation. I finished it today. I was doing this slide about 1 o'clock in the morning last night, but I found it very interesting for the history. So again, post-COVID, the federal government gave all of the towns several millions of dollars. It could be used to offset lost revenues or infrastructure costs. So for 2022, the city used 1.7 of the ARPA funds to offset the tax increase, and 200,000 of balance sheet cleanup items. In 2023, the city used 3 million of ARPA funds, 1 million of balance sheet tax appeals, and about 400,000 of balance sheet cleanup items, which again, those are one-shots. Once you clean them off the balance sheet, they don't get added back in. That was about 30 cents offset that specific year for one-shot deals. In 24, they used the remaining balance of 213,000 of the ARPA funds, another 1 million for tax appeals that was on the balance sheet, and 107 of additional balance sheet cleanups, which came to about 9 cents offset. In 25, they increased the utility surplus by 83K, another $1 million for the tax appeals, 145 of balance sheet cleanup items, which total about 1.2 million or 8 cents. And then this year, we've increased the utility surplus usage by 30,000, and I found 2 balance sheet items we could clean up for 628,000, which is about a 4 cent offset. But with that said, with the ARP funds over those 3 years totaling 4.9 million of revenue offset, that's about 34 cents that wasn't raised because the ARP money was put in for the revenue. This is just a little graph of the amount to be raised by taxes, just a little chart. And then the bottom is a waterfall chart to show the rate increases. So in 2020, the rate was 1.366. It went up 0.02. Then it basically went flat, then up 4.7 cents, then down 5 for the solid waste utility, then up 3.7 cents, and now up our 12 to be at a rate of 1.539. So now I've probably beat to death the revenue side, so now the expense side. So where the revenue gets expended. These are the categories, again, that the state views. Obviously internal, we have a lot of sub-accounts, so we view it in a more detail-oriented, but from their perspective, they view it as salary and wages, OE, other expenses that are excluded outside of the cap. That's part of the cap exclusions. So the reason why it's 1.5 or 1.48 of a year-over-year increase this year was part of our insurance cap that we were allowed to, insurance increase that we were allowed to have outside of the cap. Last year, they had a deferred charge for the new parks building of 1.9 million. We don't have that this year. Statutory expenses went up 44,000. Our debt went down 77. Our capital, what we're funding, went down 51. Reserve for uncollected taxes, that's a calculation. That calculation went down 166,000. And then as of right now, our grants are up 173,000. So our net appropriation increase was 3.13%, where last year it was 7.0. And the year prior, it was a reduction of 8 for the solid waste coming out. Lovely pie chart for the budget appropriations. So salary and wages make up 41% of our budget. OE, which is what the departments have to fulfill all of their needs, makes up 29%. Other expenses excluded from the cap, like I said, that's almost entirely the cap exclusion for our healthcare insurance. Statutory makes up 10%. Debt is 5, capital is 0, RUT's 5, library is 1%, grants are 5%, and shared service is 0% because it's such a small amount. This is a waterfall graph of what makes up the expenses. So we start at 25 budget, or 40.7 million. Our grants, as of right now, we were air using is up 174. Police salaries up 133. Fire and EMS is up 427. Part of that is because the past budget didn't budget enough overtime, which is part of the budget transfer had to complete at the end of last year. So we've rectified that calculation. Admin, economic development up 176. All others up 304. And this year, every 11 years, because we get paid biweekly, we experience a 27th payroll cycle. So because if we should get paid on January 1st, because it's a federal holiday, it falls on December 31st, and whenever it gets paid is when it has to be expensed. So therefore, it makes another cycle that we have to cover this year. That makes up 572,000. It's about 4 cents. The payroll tax and equivalents is up 156,000. Obviously, as salaries go up, so do the statutory expenditures that we have to pay the federal and state for that. State pension actually went down 96,000. The deferred charge for the new building didn't recur this year. Capital, we're putting 50,000 less this year. Our debt schedule, like I said, is down 77, the RUT down 166. And then the big increase going back up of 1.8 million is our health insurance. So the end of last year, it was had to be a last minute decision. The city had to get off of state health care, and we are now with a private company. The state issued their rates. They were going up about 51% for active employees. With the change, we went up 30%. It's about 37% when you add retirees, or about 12.5 cents. So if you were to look in silos, we're increasing our tax by 12 cents, but our insurance is costing us 12.5 cents. So we're basically just covering that using additional surplus and balance sheet cleanup to offset the normal increases of salary, wages, and cost of goods. Our general and workers' comp insurance for the current fund reduced 366,000. I changed some of the allocations to the utilities for that. We had a lawsuit settlement that was discussed in an earlier meeting this year. That's 75,000 for our portion. And then all other OE is up 181,000, which that's to cover any departmental needs. That does not cover, we had to make some cuts. It doesn't cover any departments that had asks for additional staff. Mainly the fire department and had asked for additional staff. It doesn't cover any cushion, hence why we're here. Our elevator's broken, to figure out how to pay fund. It's all OE is very slim. 181,000 is not a large amount to increase with the tariffs and just the cost of goods post-COVID. And then that got us to 42 million for what we're introducing. This slide is just a screenshot of when you put in the budget, you have to make sure that you're under your levy cap and you're for the tax side and for the appropriation side. So it's just a screenshot showing that we are 657,000 under the levy cap. That levy cap can carry over to the next 3 years' budgets if we need it to get under. 2023, they were under by 1.6. That balance will go away. I won't have that available to use. 24, they didn't have any levy cap extra, and 25, they had 1.8. So the 1.8 and then the 657,000, which totals 2.5 million, will be available in next year's budget if we need it to meet our cap expectations. This is the appropriation side of the cap. So the levy cap is 2%. Appropriations, we approved the COLA ordinance, so we could go up to 3.5. Using the cap bank for 24 and 25, they had about 500,000 each. We will have 396,000 available to carry over to next year's budget to help against the 3.5% cap exception. Going into grants. So, looking at the last 4 years of grants, they're kind of itemized. You can look at look at your handout to see. So 2023, the city brought in 2.9 million. In 24, they brought in 4.6 million. In 25, 1.6, and to date, we're introducing 1.8 million. That's largely UEZ. UEZ is 1.3 of the 1.85 million. Just kind of shows that 2024 was large because they had a large DOT grant. So obviously we want to work for DOTs, do road paving and stuff. The more we can get grants, the less we have to bond or pay for on our end. So we wanted to also take a look to see what the two larger surrounding towns brought in grant-wise. Bridgeton didn't have their 22 and through 2020 budget online, but Vineland did. So if we look at our percentage for 25, if we look at what the three towns brought in, Millville brought in 7% of the pool, Bridgeton brought in 26, and Vineland 66%. I mean, obviously Vineland's larger, they have, a specific department for grants, but any grant that we bring in can help buy equipment, if we can offset salaries, any little bit helps. So this is, again, just to reiterate what all of this means to the average assessed house, which is $176,000. On this slide, I included what the school and county estimate is going to be. So all in, the estimated increase is $450. Quarterly, $112, monthly, $37. Again, of that, municipal is $211, annual, school is $144, and county is estimating at $95. Now, this will be 2 quarters will go out this year, 2 quarters go out next year because of how the tax billings fall. If you have a mortgage, obviously, you'll get the adjustment when your escrow gets reestablished or recalculated. Jumping into the capital. So capital 101, capital budget is required for multi-year anticipated, 3 years if you're under 10,000 population, 6 if you're over. Not considered a spendable budget used to represent long-term financial planning for large-scale dollar projects to exceed a 5-year life. Capital bond ordinance are required to adopt the budget necessary for these items. You have to have the 5% down if we're going to do a bond. These ordinances are generally required for long-term financing, funding, and like I said, debt services can be bonds for permanent financing, notes for short-term up to 10 years, or iBank, Green Acres, those types of state-approved loans. Balances in capital improvement fund or fund balance and capital may be used to help self-finance these types of purchases if available. This is what the departments asked for some their needs. We have various needs of, we need equipment, backhoes, street sweepers, vehicle lifts. We need upgrades to buildings, upgrades to our Walt Whitman and Corson Park athletic fields. We need a few fire trucks, a few ambulances. We have police, obviously they need police cars. Fleet in general need vehicles. I did put at the bottom, just long-term thinking for new firehouse EMS station, police building, city hall, or rehabbing of those locations. And then at the bottom, I listed the city assessment for the reval since it hasn't been done since 2005. Again, this is just a plan. It doesn't mean that we're going to fulfill all of these needs via debt this year, but it has to be in the plan to be able to move forward, excuse me. So things we need to contemplate for 2027 and beyond, health insurance. So we got out of state health insurance because we were looking at a 50% increase. We got a 30-ish% increase. We don't know yet what the premiums are going to be for next year. We have aging fleet. I put my little Flintstones car to. Some of the vehicles are very, very old, but knock on wood, they are still moving around. We have building repairs, the city assessment reval, general insurance, workers' comp. Obviously, if we have claims, that premium will go up. The overall cost of goods with what's going on at the higher governments with the tariffs. We don't know what's happening there. We have to fulfill the union contractual increases for all of the contracts that were settled last year. And then we also have additional staffing needs that were not budgeted this year that we will look to fulfill in the future. So now moving on to the smaller budgets. Water utility. The state views the utilities on a very summarized basis. So for the water, they view it as surplus, rents, hydrant services, and miscellaneous revenue. Our surplus usage is going up this year by 817,000. It is a lot, but it is explained. It's coming from the need to offset our health insurance and our general insurance and some overall needs that the department needs to increase their infrastructure. So we're looking to propose a $5.1 million budget. Last year was 4.4. Revenues have to equal expenses. So with that said, the overall revenue and expenses are going up 789,000 or 17.93%. And I listed to the side, healthcare insurance went up for the water employees 66,000. General insurance went up 260,000. Just to go over their surplus. I didn't go as far back as the current fund because the state, their templates weren't, their AFS and their budget templates weren't the same as they have been recently, so it's kind of hard to get the historical numbers. But just looking like last year, they used 817,000 for the utility, 450 for the current fund. We only recouped 948, so surplus went down 318,000. The year prior, it went up 88. The year before that, it went down 135,000, so it kind of goes up and down as we go along. To the sewer budget. Same thing, the state views it very summarized. So their surplus this year, we put in an extra 838,000. Again, the drivers were healthcare insurance and needs that the department needs to increase for their general infrastructure. So our revenue is looking at 7.3 million versus 6.4, which is a 12.69% net increase. The sewer utility, their surplus is pretty healthy. It has continued to increase over the last several years. This year obviously shows a decrease because we don't know what we're going to be able to recover yet. To the solid waste. So again, this was established in 2024. This year, the budget is going up about 242,000 from 2.4 to 2.15. The city did implement a $1 or $12 annual increase for the rents that will reflect in this year's cash receipts, which will be able to increase next year's budget. The other expenses that, the reason why the tax or the solid waste budget increased is obviously for the trash collection. So it's just the CCIA tipping fees went up 3%. The ACUA trash fee, specifically for trash, went up 19% or 147,000. The recycling went up 2%. And we did need to also budget another 50% or 50,000 for trash can purchases. We do get reimbursed for that if the residents purchase, if they want an extra can, but if one's broken or repairs, we have to cover that expense. The 25 budget did not factor in any can purchases, so that's why I have on there that it's 100% increase, because they had factored in some canned purchases in '24 when the utility was established, but not in '25. And solid waste, little surplus tracker is the simplest of all since it just started in '24. So in the end of '24, they brought in 45,000 to carry over. Last year, they were able to add 402,000, and then this year we're planning to offset 182,000 of that. And that's the end of my very long presentation.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
We have two budget resolutions. Budget resolution number 1, resolution to read the municipal budget by title only.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
So, that was a long presentation, but the work you took was way longer. And I know it goes unnoticed. It doesn't on my part when I get your 11:30 at night emails, almost every day, your Saturday emails, your Sunday emails. I know you try to simplify it into round 1, round 2, round 3, but you forgot round 1, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You forgot the many times I'm like, go back into your hole because we're not accepting those numbers. We have to keep fighting and getting them down. And I appreciate it. I know a lot of people just look at dates and wonder why it took us this long. But the work that you two put into this, that you and the administrator, and the meetings you've had with every department head for the last couple months, just to try to give them some of the bad news, that this isn't even about growth. This doesn't even keep us even. This is just keep us from, just let us try to move forward a little bit. We haven't had any growth in this city in such a long time, and we're just playing catch up. And I know you want to see growth, and you're like, we need this big number that I'm not even going to put out to even get to there. And you did a lot of cleaning up of the books. You did a lot of work that, if this isn't something that everybody wants to talk about it because it's not fun and it feels boring at times, right, to a lot of people. But, the time that you spent out there doesn't go unnoticed. And I want you to know that I appreciate what both of you guys have done and the long hours you guys have put in. I know the public may not have the same perception because, a lot of times, unfortunately, they see the end product, right? And they don't see the blood, sweat, and tears. So before that gets to that point, once again, I just wanted to say thank you for all the hours you've put in.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Budget resolution item number 2, resolution to introduce the 2026 municipal budget.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
We now just need a motion to approve the bill list.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second the motion.
Once again, I think the bill list is made public. I do appreciate that you're also doing that, Trish, as well. Sometimes that goes unnoticed, but that gives the public a chance to see all the bills we are paying. So, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Need a motion to approve the minutes for the following dates: January 6, 2026, January 16, 2026, January 20th, 2026, January 30th, 2026, and February 3rd, 2026.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as
I'll
read.
second it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes. Now we move on to reports of commissioners. Commissioner Taylor?
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the police, fire, and EMS reports for the month of April 2026.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes. Anything to add, Commissioner Taylor?
Not at this time, Mayor, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Casabun.
Just a few things. Streets and roads, they are right now on Sugarman Ave for the brush cleanup and collection. They still have Carmel Road area, Ireland Ave, both White Marsh, Cedarwood Village developments, and Lloyd Terrace before heading to Laurel Lake to finish up. Residents can still put your brush and loose leaves out to the compost out on Cedar Street if you'd like to, or you can have your loose leaves and they have to be in bags and put out with your weekly trash. Our street sweeper is back and up and running, and tickets will be issued as needed when they are back out on the streets. Water department, there has been a lot of pipe breakage with this past winter, so they've been working on Kimball Avenue. Garrison just completed a new wet tap and 60 foot of 6-inch pipe across Wheaton Ave. Pleasant Drive replacement project bid, that's going out on May the 9th. That's so we can get that piping up to standard for the state with the rust, no, not the rust. The lead. Get that before we pave that street, so we want to get that done. And progress, we're a little bit over halfway installed with the meters, so that's a good thing. So hopefully keep on, if you get a notice, go ahead and make your appointment. And that's about it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you.
Casabun. Commissioner Ranello.
Yes, we have the senior barbecue tomorrow, May 20th at the Millville Elks. As always, all 200 seats filled up pretty quickly, and we're looking forward to a fantastic day of music, games, great food, and even better company. I saw some of the baskets. They look pretty fabulous this year. The doors are going to open at 10:30 a.m. The barbecue officially kicks off at 11:30 a.m., and lunch will be served at noon. Then on Friday, May 22nd, Millville Public Schools, who's been gracious enough to give us this room, will host its 49th annual Olympic Day. The parade is going to begin at 10 a.m. at City Hall, and a few commissioners and I will be joining in as 800 4th and 5th graders march to Wheaton Field to compete in 14 different events. Olympic Day remains one of Millville's greatest traditions. It's filled with school spirit, community pride, and support for our youth, including my son, a 5th grader at Rick Avenue, and a proud Jet who will be taking part in the day's events. On Memorial Day, May 25th, our annual Memorial Day Parade will begin at 9 a.m. We also want to help spread the word that the parade route has changed this year due to the Main Street Bridge construction. The parade will begin at the American Legion, proceed to Buck Street, continue to Brandreth Avenue for a brief naval memorial ceremony on the Brandreth Bridge, and then travel to West Main Street before concluding with the ceremony at the Veterans Plot in Mount Pleasant Cemetery. And finally, don't forget about our citywide community yard sale on Saturday, May 30th. Anyone who would like to participate and have their address included on the official list of homes can sign up by emailing recreation@millvillenj.gov. Some quick department updates. Last week, all but 2 of the black decorative light poles on High Street from Broad Street to Vine Street were repaired and are now back in service with upgraded LED lighting. The 2 remaining poles require additional work. We are also aware of intermittent outages with the decorative lights on High Street, and those will be addressed in the coming weeks with LED upgrades as well. All athletic fields now have irrigation up and running. The Parks Department is currently clearing overgrowth at the American Little League. We're then returning to parks and cutting grass. The team will then move on to Corson Park during the first week of June ahead of the fishing tournament to address all cleanup and overgrowth around the pond area. Clean Team has also been very, very busy. They completed the cleanup on Eden Avenue that I was mentioning at the last meeting in the industrial park. They did a very large cleanup on Buck Street and addressed areas near the railroad tracks at High and Broad Streets. They've also been retrieving abandoned shopping carts and removing trash throughout the UEZ zone daily, as well as cleaning up remnants of abandoned encampments. Everyone's continued effort is making a visible difference in keeping our city a little bit cleaner and a lot more presentable. I also want to recognize Sam Cruz and Brooke Tomlin for their hard work across several major community efforts that are taking place right now, from organizing the senior barbecue and confirming our senior list, to processing veterans' names for the Wall of Honor, collecting addresses for the citywide yard sale, helping coordinate both the Memorial Day Parade and planning for our 4th of July celebration that's happening in a couple months. It's been a really busy stretch, and I appreciate all their dedication and efforts. Sewer department also working very hard. Want to thank Sal and all the men and women from our sewer department. We are going to have our report at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ranello. Vice Mayor Kopp.
Yeah, it's just, it's been budget season, it's been crazy, it's been hectic. Revenue and finance have been just, want to thank the men and women there for just keeping us afloat during all this process.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Kopp. I want to start with engineering. If I overlap with sewer, water, roads, I apologize, but this is kind of more from an engineering perspective. The third secondary clarifier, we're hoping to have that done by the end of the year. Engineering continues on all aspects of that project, so that should be done by the end of the year. Engineering has finalized the design on our solids dewatering upgrade. What that's going to do for us is save money when it comes to solids. The wetter the solids are, the more it costs to get it out of there. And when we have the upgrade happens, it's going to save us money in the long run. Ireland Avenue Force Main upgrade, they're looking to get that paved. So all the work that's going on, it's 95% complete. So if you folks live around Ireland Avenue, there should be money left in the project, and engineering is going to get those roads paved in that area so it doesn't look like a mess. Thank you while we continue those upgrades. Engineering is working with the water utility on painting and resurfacing our water tanks. So engineering is working on that. Pleasant Avenue water improvements, as Commissioner Casaboon had mentioned, should be happening, being done in about 2 weeks. So that's how long it's going to take. And then once that's done, the paving is going to start probably this fall. So engineering is working very hard to make sure that happens on time. Geisinger Avenue's water improvements are being engineered and taken care of as well. And it looks like there'll be a fall completion on that project as well. The South 14th Street paving project, it was awarded, and that is going to be moving along very shortly. Geisinger Avenue road improvements should be done early 2027. Buck Street road improvements, that's being done with UEZ money. Perhaps this year. I like to make these updates because people ask me all the time, what's happening with these roads? The downtown improvements for the streetscape, that has already started, and it should be done in about 2 months. So engineering was already done on that, and that's moving along. They've had trouble getting materials, but that's moving along. And when it comes to parking lots, the engineering is going to start on a lot of the lots, not to take public properties thunder, but as engineering gets done on those, those will probably get done early next year based on our engineering department. I'll be quick on construction fees. Construction permits to date are at 245,000 compared to same year to date 183,000. So we have a 33% increase in construction permits so far. And rental registration rates are up. It's a 7% increase over last year. So hopefully the word is getting out that you should not have a rental unit without registering it. And with that, those are all the comments that I'll have for right now. Madam, let's move on to regular business.
Yes. Mayor, ordinances for second reading. Ordinance for second reading, item number 1, an ordinance amending Chapter 30, Land Use and Development Regulations. And there is a public hearing as well.
All right. So this is where we're at. We've been waiting for this moment. There's a public hearing on this. This is our data center ban that we've been talking about for at least, well, since we've been in. So there's a public hearing on this. I know there's going to be a lot of people that want to come up and speak. We will hold public comments to 5 minutes in order to give everybody an ample time to speak. So please, each person that's presenting, please hold your comments to 5 minutes. If you'd like to make a comment, please approach the podium, state your name and address and your concerns.
Mayor Dixon, Commissioners, Michael Malinsky of Fox Rothschild LLP, on behalf of Anthony DeSantis, who's a member of 1300 Wheaton LLC, 200G Construction LLC, and 600G Construction LLC, located at 1300 Wheaton, 200G Street and 300G Street and 600G Street, also known as Blocks 260 Lot 5, Blocks 260 Lot 1, and Blocks 264 Lot 62.03 or 2.03. With regard to the 5-minute limitation, I'm going to place my objection on the record. With regard to that, there is no limitation set forth in your agenda. You do limit the time to 5 minutes under Section 6 and 21. However, no other sections are limited. Under the Open Public Meetings Act, you're able to limit comments to the public comment section. However, this is a public hearing on a second reading on an ordinance. 40:49-2, dealing with the passage of ordinances, doesn't limit public comment. Moreover, I'm not aware of an ordinance that the city of Millville has adopted which has limited the right of the public hearing or the time frame of the public hearing on a second reading of ordinance as set forth in Feld versus City of Orange Township, 2018, WL 3747632, Appellate Division 2018. You have to have a narrowly tailored ordinance in effect, limiting the time frame for public comment with regard to a second reading on an ordinance. Narrowly tailored because it does impinge on the public's First Amendment right to speak regarding the second reading of ordinances. So with that, I don't believe the 5-minute limitation in accordance with your agenda or the Open Public Meetings Act or 40:49-2 is applicable here. So I have 4 witnesses with me this evening. Our intent here tonight, with that on the record and my objection noted on the record, is to inform the commissioners and explain to you there are certain concerns that are laid out in your ordinance, but there are solutions to those concerns that can be addressed through smart planning. Technologies are ever changing in the data center realm, in the data center field. Certain technologies which probably should have been implemented down the road here, but again, these are technologies that are in existence that provide realistic solutions to the concerns that you have in your ordinance. So with that being said, I'm going to call my first witness, who is Barry Smith. Also, real quick, before Mr. Smith gets up here, I'm going to note that I did hand out Exhibits A, which is also known as O-1 through Q, which is also known as O-17, consisting of 159 pages, with inclusive of the table of contents and exhibit tabs, which I would have marked into evidence as part of this public hearing.
I'd like to defer to the solicitor at this point. How do you want to handle public comments at this point? It looks like we're going to be switching from presenter to presenter. Would you like to limit each presenter to 5 minutes? How would you like to proceed?
I think that's probably most appropriate at this time. We can bend for this. I don't necessarily know that I share your analysis, but we'll let him limit it. Each presenter is no more than 5 minutes.
Note my objection on the record. I'm just trying
I
to
got
avoid
you.
us being back here when spirit were meant for the record. That's all. Now, real quick, before we get into his 5 minutes, stay on my time real quick, which has been 5 minutes. The ordinance we're talking about tonight, because no one said the number, is 48-2026. Is that correct?
That is, yes, that is the number.
Thank you. briefly give your background to the commissioners? Sure. Started my career as a federal bank regulator, cleaning up the U.S. banking crisis in the 90s. I then moved into fintech, which is very much a digital play. So I've been operating in the digital infrastructure space. I worked for a company called Equinix, which is the largest data center REIT in the world. We had, during my period, gone from 100 data centers to 280 globally, moving from 35 metros to 77 metros. Many of those metros are in and around populated areas.
And your curriculum vitae is actually included in these in the package, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've reviewed ordinance number 48-2026, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you're familiar with the 5 concerns that are outlined in ordinance 48-2026, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And in your professional opinion, there are solutions to each of those 5 concerns, is that correct?
That's correct.
And can you please explain to the board what your 5 solutions are and how each of the concerns can be addressed?
Certainly. So let me go through basically the first one, which is the legitimate worry about large data centers that can pull hundreds of megawatts, drawn entirely from existing grid, that demand can stress local infrastructure and push energy prices up for residents who share the same lines. Atlantic City Electric serves Millville. The same utility serves much of South Jersey. So any new... I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. How's that? Is that better? Sorry. Okay, so Atlantic City Electric serves Millville. The same utility serves much of South Jersey. So any new large load anywhere on the ACE system can affect mill ratepayers. So you currently have other municipalities that could be at risk to how you pay your rate. So the one solution to that, though, that I want to talk about, which is also a solution to a few of these other 5 points, is something called solid oxide fuel cells, and they're primarily from Bloom Energy. These are in play. We used them probably about 12, 13 years ago. We basically installed them, and what they can at our data centers at Equinix, because we were basically looking at ESG scores, environmental, social, and governance. So we basically always wanted to do good by the communities that we operated in. But those SOFCs run on natural gas, biogas, and even hydrogen. They're clean. They don't vibrate like turbines or generators. And basically, they are very, very efficient and modular. So if you use biogas with the SOFCs, you could get 90%, and with waste heat recapture, you get 90% efficiency from those SOFCs. So on the second point, concern 2 of 5, cooling and water usage. So closed loop cooling has cut water use to near zero. So what does that mean? That basically means that what you're doing is your data centers were never using water previously. Actually, water was the enemy of data centers because of all the electronics. Now with the GPU processing, AI, you need to cool that heat. So with closed loop, what it does is it basically recaptures that water and recaptures the evaporation from that process. So the water usage goes down significantly, if at all. There's also now something called dielectric fluid. So if you're driving your car is probably not cooled by water, it's cooled by antifreeze. So think about that dielectric fluid, exactly that. So there's a lot of these new things that are moving forward that are going to solve some of these problems. So concern 3 of 5, mechanical noise, the industrial zone siting plus modern engineering keeps noise contained. So what we're saying is just go ahead and open up where your industries are. I can tell you, I did this when I was at Equinix. We were in Toronto. We were basically what they call black. We couldn't open up a second site. We found an industrial zone, a developer remediated that site, and we built a very large data center in Toronto to go ahead and basically build out their whole industrial, where there used to be steel plants, there used to be coke plants, things like that, where we cleaned up the site. So the same thing can happen here in your industrial zones. Keep them in your industrial zones. How does this get solved, basically, the noise? So again, industrial zones, liquid cooling, SOFCs,
There's no combustions, near zero vibration. And then I would do setbacks, sound walls. You guys have the ability to go ahead and design these and dictate the design for the benefit of the community. So there's enough of these out there, examples. There's a lot of noise out there that I think you can move ahead and basically implement something incredible for your community. The waste heat, concern number 4 or 5, heat and environment. Waste heat is wasted opportunity. I can say that when I was at Equinix, we had in our Paris data centers, we used to basically push out all of our heat from our servers. We took that waste heat and we actually now, and still to this day, heat the Olympic pool in Paris. Just one example. There's data center providers that basically take the heat and they go ahead and they basically, they take it to a greenhouse. The greenhouse is their biggest expense is actually electric for heating. So they basically take it and that expense goes down to next to nothing, and basically they're trying to recoup this. So there's a whole ecosystem of plays that you can do off of any data center in the area. So again, I would not go ahead and listen to a lot of noise out there. There are solutions. I'll give you another one in Stockholm, Sweden. They're basically heating 30,000 apartments with the data center's waste heat. So they put it into their heating grid, and they're heating homes off of any of that heat. So there are ways to go ahead and remediate anything out there, whether it's waste heat recapture. Even some of these large hyperscalers have gone ahead and funded waste treatment plant where they're taking waste water and cleaning it, using it for cooling and pushing it back into the community. And then lastly, number 5, the jobs versus land use. So many of you say, okay, there's a data center, there's only going to be 20, 30 full-time jobs. Well, during the construction phase, there's obviously a lot of jobs that come in. These are blue collar, these are plumbing, electricians, HVAC. They're building, they are, and you could say they are temporary. When something is up and running, there's a lot of indirect jobs. So you're not running a data center that has a lot of electric, a lot of plumbing, a lot of HVAC, where something can go wrong calling in another state. You're looking for local indirect plumbing companies, electric companies. The other thing I'll say is you have the ability, and I've done this with another developer in Mississippi, is they've worked with a local university to go ahead and create training programs, because all this capital, and 2 weeks ago, 4 firms went ahead and said $750 million this year alone they're putting into CapEx. That means capital to go ahead and build data centers, work with the community. So if you want growth, and I did hear that, there's a way to do this and do it properly. I would not ban data centers. I would maybe individually review them and look at them and approve them and spec them out on the design side.
And also, in that sense, you could put conditions in and make it a conditional use that require all of these conditions, such as soaker cells and closed-loop cooling, liquid cooling, and reuse of the waste heat. Is that correct?
That's correct. One other thing just to make a point here. So, I had helped build Equinix's, I'm a New Jersey resident, so I am paid by property taxes just like everybody else. Secaucus, New Jersey, we built the largest financial electronic centers in the world. They transact more transactions than anywhere throughout this globe. I just want to give you a little example of the difference between Millville and Secaucus.
I'm going to have to cut you off there. I let you go probably about 8 or 9 minutes.
Okay. So,
Again, you noted my objection on the record. I'm not aware of the legal authority or ordinance that's been pointed to limit the time frame or in the agenda.
We're not talking to you.
We can, again, we're not addressing the public. We'd appreciate the courtesy of the public not addressing us right
All
now.
residents with respect.
Okay.
Have an orderly meeting.
All right, I'm going to address everyone in the public. All right. Everyone gets a chance to talk. We all don't agree on this subject. Please do not yell at the people. They get to say what they want to say. You will get a chance to come up and say what you want to say. It's obvious we don't agree on this, and that's okay. So be respectful. Let them say what they have to say. Everyone here is going to get a chance to come up and talk if they want, but let's be respectful, all right? Sir, please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My next witness is Mr. Matt DeCoursey. Mr. DeCoursey.
Afternoon.
Mr. DeCoursey, your curriculum vitae is already in the exhibit package, so skipping your background, you heard the testimony of Mr. Smith, and do you agree that there's a proven solution for each of the concerns?
I do, and I've reviewed the concerns in the reports that I've seen in the ordinance, and I think my key considerations are that those positions overlook a lot of the benefits that data centers could bring to the town. It overlooks the fact that some of these concerns are not necessarily impacts because, as Barry said, they could be mitigated. And I think that brings us to a conclusion that it makes sense to consider these applications on a case-by-case basis rather than a blanket ban. If it's useful, I can walk through each of those positions in more detail. Okay, so when it comes to the benefit side of the equation here, the previous presentation spoke well to the benefits that could come from taxes. I wanted to raise the Commission's attention to the potential of energy cost savings, and this is in the packet you have starting at slide 3. This is an area that I specialize in elsewhere. What we've seen over and over is that when a data center comes to a local community, they absorb some of the costs of running the local utility, and residents' bills go down for their electric use, for their water use across the board. At slide 4, we've listed a whole bunch of specific instances where a utility went before a regulator, got an order to do this, and they found evidence to support this position. This isn't corporate PR. These are commitments that companies are making and rulings that regulatory agencies are finding. It found that in Arizona, bringing data centers to the system will save residential customers $100 a year. In Michigan, the regulator there found that the utility is going to defer future rate increases because they're able to absorb the revenues from the data center instead. California, they found the same thing. Nevada, they found similar findings. And again, these are not exactly sort of bastions of rampant capitalism. These are closely regulated, careful with these issues kind of jurisdictions. And the finding is consistent. When data centers are added to the electric grid, the cost for existing customers goes down. Again, there's lots and lots of data in your packets in the effort to sort of move it along. On the impact side, I think there have been a total of 5 potential impacts that have been identified. I've addressed 4 of them in the packets that you have here. I'm not an expert on the jobs economy, so I didn't touch that one. But on the other one, I've picked up some of the technological and the governance solutions that can apply here, and I've listed specific instances in which other communities have navigated these issues. On noise, we've seen that jurisdictions can impose specific requirements on new data centers to come in, and if they don't, then they can reject their entrance to the town. Same for water use. Here we've listed that Microsoft has 0 water.
Sir, I'm going to pause you for just a second. If the people in the gallery could please stop private conversations, people want to listen. All right? Let's pay attention to each speaker, give each speaker a chance to speak. If you don't like data centers, you'll get a chance to come up here and say whatever you'd like to say. I want to give these gentlemen a chance to say what they have to say. So please, let's keep the conversations that I can hear almost from here. If you'd like to speak, absolutely move out to the hallway and have conversations. Everyone's going to get a chance to speak. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
But I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to be heard.
Not counted against his time, make sure he
This is not counted against your
I
time.
appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, continue, I'm sorry.
So we were talking water use.
I'm kidding.
We've listed several instances here. You can review them at your leisure of sort of new technologies, closed loop cooling that reduce water use to close to 0. One of the best examples I'm aware of is from a few weeks ago in East Windsor. There, the town approved the expansion of a QTS data center. One of the conditions they imposed was that QTS had to install closed loop water cooling or they couldn't move forward with their facility. It's worth noting here also, the town owns the water utility. So you have the ability to restrict the service from the water utility that goes to any of its customers reasonably, and this would apply as well. Grid impacts, again, I've talked about. The regulation is a little bit complicated in the rate making, but the finding is clear and it's consistent. Everywhere it's applied, costs go down for existing customers when large loads are added to the grid because they absorb some of the cost of doing business and they pay for all of the costs to serve them. It's been a pretty consistent finding. I've also seen that heat is a concern and a consideration, and it's a very reasonable one. Again, it can be addressed. There's technology to sort of use that waste heat, to apply it to other uses, to mitigate its release into the atmosphere. And again, we have examples here of regulation that's proven effective. The EU has a scheme to limit and directly regulate heat emissions from data centers. So, each of these concerns are the right concerns. They're reasonable concerns. They're smart concerns. They're the things that commissions like you folks should be taking up. Each of these things can be addressed. I don't think we're proposing that we leave it to the data center developers to do it themselves or to sort of let business just run amok. Impose any standard that you want on a case-by-case basis, and then you can explore the balance between the benefits and the costs. And if someone comes in, they don't convince you, don't approve them. But if you impose a blanket ban, you lose the opportunity to even evaluate.
Now, you reviewed the data center impact analysis report prepared by Mayor Dixon, is that correct?
I did.
And what is your review on that report?
I mean, I think probably it aligns with those 5 concerns. I think my concern is that it overlooks the benefits. It leans too heavily into the concerns, or it assumes all of the concerns will be impacts. It neglects the fact that there are technological solutions to most of those concerns and that there are governance solutions to require them to be imposed on new developers. And one of the things there that I noticed in the report was a lot of those references are dated, and so I'm not sure it fully reflects the state of the art on the technology side. So for all those reasons, again, I think it's worthwhile for the town to look at these things case by case rather than impose a blanket ban.
Thank you, Mr. Corsi.
Thank you.
My next witness is Mr. Buddy Reiser. I understand there's a 5-minute limitation, but I asked Mr. Reiser to come here because he's actually from Loudoun County, Virginia, and traveled up here today to speak to you. He's the Director of Economic Development and also the Director of Development in Loudoun County. And Loudoun County is the data center hub, so he can actually talk to you about real live implications and effects from these data centers as a governing body, being in that position himself, and what the benefits are and how they've addressed the concerns. So I would respectfully request, based on this travel up here, that he be allocated longer than the 5 minutes.
What are you proposing?
No more than 15 minutes. We'll try and keep it to 10.
Go ahead.
But he did travel all the way today from Loudoun County to be here.
I can appreciate his travel.
And I think it's beneficial because he stands in your position in Loudoun County, so I think it's beneficial.
And I honestly, because I work for elected officials, I will do my best to get through it much quicker than that and get you out of here as soon as I can. My name is Buddy Reiser. I'm an economist and an economic developer in Loudoun County, Virginia, which is known as Data Center Alley. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you tonight. I recognize that this is not an easy time to be a public servant, and I appreciate all the work that you do.
Could you say your name again, sir? One more. Say your name again, sir.
Buddy Reiser, R-I-Z-E-R.
Thank you, Mr. Reiser.
And I am not here tonight to, I would never presume to tell you or any other community what you should do with your zoning or ordinances. In fact, I fly all over the country at the request of communities, trying to talk to them about the realities of data centers. And what I would say is, I suggest that every community define their own opportunity. The community should decide if they want them, and if they do, where they want them, and under which conditions they'll take them. I can speak to why we went down this path in Loudoun County. When I was first hired in 2007, Loudoun County was 81% dependent on residential real estate. When the housing bubble burst, we lost about a third of our tax revenue in a community that was getting 15,000 new people a month into our community. We had to cut services, we had to lay people off, we had to raise taxes to the highest in the community. Our analysis showed that data centers would give us the best opportunity to grow our commercial tax base. Today, we are at 51% commercial and only 49% residential. It's made a significant difference to our tax base. This year, we'll get about $1.2 billion in local revenue from data centers. What does that mean in our community? During the last 2 decades, we've been able to build 32 new schools. We're building a new high school today that is going to be budgeted at around $144 million. We've built 15 new fire stations. We've built 6 new libraries. We've been able to take our pay scale for our workforce, both the county and public service like fire and rescue and the sheriff's department, from 80% of our competitors to 95 to 105% of our competitors. We have built over 1,000 acres of parks and recreation and miles of roads and a new affordable housing program and so much more. And we did that while lowering the taxes on our residents by 48 cents on the dollar and the car tax by more than $1. We're now the lowest taxed jurisdiction in all of the greater Washington area. The average homeowner with 2 homes saves about $7,000 a year in their taxes. And I appreciate the work that you guys have done and the questions you've asked. The questions you're asking today are the same questions we were asking 20 years ago, almost to the letter. And I can talk a little bit about how we've addressed some of those. There's a lot of conversation about water. We have more than 200 data centers, about 203 right now. And those 203 data centers use less than 10% of the total potable water in Loudoun County, Virginia. So it is not a drain on our water system. They talk about the electric rates. There is no evidence that electric rates have been impacted by data centers. That said, the Commonwealth has went ahead and put protections in place to protect ratepayers going forward with a separate class, a take-or-pay system where the data centers must pay for whatever they use going forward, whether they use it or not, and also responsibility for any new infrastructure. Home values in Loudoun County in the last decade have gone up 68%, and there's no evidence that homes have been impacted by that. Air quality. The air quality in Loudoun County is better today than it was a decade ago. We have the lowest health incident rate in all of Virginia and one of the lowest in all of the United States. We have our asthma attacks and our lung-related diseases are well below the national average. Land use is important. We get that $1.2 billion, which is 45% of our budget on just 3% of our land. The reason we're able to make so much is that in a typical office building in Loudoun County, the assessed value of a square foot of office is $126. That same square footage inside a data center is $858. So in Loudoun, we would have to build 2 million square feet of office to get the same revenue we get from a 250,000 square foot data center. And the jobs are, I think, really significant. And
Mr. Soliter, can I ask you a question? Just one quick. How big is your municipality, your county?
We're a community of 450,000.
Like square miles type of thing?
Oh, I have no idea, to be honest with you. But we're a very large county. 2/3 of our community is rural.
Thank you.
So about jobs. For us, originally, the jobs weren't the thing we were worried about. We were worried about the investment, okay? But what we've seen is we have 15,000 jobs inside data centers now. And we have another big circle around that. For every job in the data center, we have another 6 jobs in the ecosystem, either secondary or tertiary. So I can only tell you from our experience, having data centers has been a good experience. I would say that we were slow to react to the growth curve, and I encourage you to look at this and to find ways to mitigate upfront and to make your zoning. But I don't think that a out-and-out ban makes sense, given the fiscal responsibilities of all of our communities. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, he gave you 1 minute.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. You said you were going to ask me something? Okay.
So in your opinion, if data centers were to not be prohibited or banned, but to be allowed through smart planning or conditions, potentially a big benefit for the city of Millville, similar to what it was in Madison County, for both the municipality and the school system, is that correct?
Yeah, it's been a huge boon for us. Now, I would defer to the CFO about how they tax and what the tax structure is, but significant amount of revenue is available from data centers. But again, I think you have to balance the public and the fiscal opportunities, and I think smart planning does that.
And you also reviewed the data center impact analysis report prepared by Ordinance, is that correct?
I did, and I think that he asked all the right questions. Some of his conclusions are different than what we've experienced in Loudoun County.
So those conclusions are more the reality experience of that county,
Correct. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In answer to your question, Loudoun County's 523 square miles.
Sir.
No.
During your time.
You could, yeah, Mr. McGinty, you can come up during your time and fill in Mr. Sherman, for sure.
My next witness is Ms. Tiffany Morrissey.
Good evening. I'm a professional planner, state of New Jersey licensed, member of the American Institute of Certified Planners, and I'm here because I reviewed the ordinance in accordance with the requirements for adopting an ordinance under the land use standards in New Jersey, and have 4 things I just want to touch on, and I'll probably leave the last one about the master plan consistency to not as much detail. There's a lot in a report that I prepared for you. But in reviewing the ordinance, there are things that raise concerns. We're calling this a data center prohibition ordinance, but it doesn't just prohibit data centers. And it doesn't just prohibit what the conception of a data center is, it prohibits data centers that impact local land uses. For instance, we're standing here within a school. Millville school system uses a data center to power the district-wide technology through network infrastructure and digital classrooms. The way your definition is defined for a data center, it would include local facilities within local businesses or buildings or offices within your community. And that's one of the flaws that I find within your ordinance that is, while well-intentioned in terms of what you're looking to do, overreaching in terms of what it actually does. The data center definition, when you break it down, would include things such as if you have a distribution center or you have businesses in the community that have distribution and offices or shared companies in other countries or other parts of this United States. If they have hubs within their building to serve the telecommuting, the sharing of information across facilities, you are, by virtue of the definition that you have created and prohibiting data centers as accessory uses, making those operations, which are accessory to their fundamental business operations, prohibited within the community. Your definition is overreaching and does more than just prohibit what the public perception of a data center is. And that's concerning in how it is written and how it is written out in your ordinance. The second thing that I want to talk about is the other things that the ordinance prohibits. The ordinance doesn't just prohibit data centers. It prohibits a list of new uses that are currently not prohibited within the Land Use Development Code. It prohibits junkyards and automobile wrecking facilities, dumping and disposal, waste and scrap material, all acceptable things that many communities prohibit, but it also prohibits single-family dwellings, manufactured homes, mobile homes, or trailers for human habitation that are either less than 22 feet wide or on land that is not held in title by the owner of that dwelling, as well as two other standards that go along with that. It's not one or the other, it's any of those. Prohibiting earth extraction or land mining operations, which are commonly referred to as resource extraction operations and defined in your ordinance, as well as other facilities, including more than one single dwelling unit on a lot, except for agricultural employee housing. I will note that in prohibiting these additional uses, you're contrary to your ordinances and to your master plan. Your issue with regards to the mobile homes, you have a mobile home park zone, and you have a ability in your ordinance to expand the mobile home park zone. You also have a motorsports enterprise district, and it includes such uses as condominiums or villas. And if you have a small villa type facility unit on a condominium type property where they don't own the land they are on, you are prohibiting that use through this ordinance, which has different reaching effects more so than just the data centers. Additionally, your earth extraction prohibition is contrary to Article 22, resource extraction of your land use ordinance, which has this as a use that is permitted subject to conditions. And the third thing I want to address in the ordinance is the aspect of it relies on facts, statements that are not supported by facts or expert testimony, which is why you heard from the prior three witnesses indicating that some of the information that you're relying on can be addressed, can be easily regulated and controlled, and can be done in a manner that allows for comprehensive planning in the community. The last part of this report that I've prepared is extensive, and I provided testimony at the planning board meeting regarding the consistency of this ordinance with the master plan. The planning board did find and recommend that it was consistent with the master plan despite the objections that were raised and the reasons given for that objection. The municipal land use law requires that an ordinance be consistent with the master plan, substantially consistent with the land use element and housing element in your master plan documents. And it also requires a finding, if it's not consistent, that the governing body adopt a resolution with statements of fact. You have 2005 master plan, comprehensive master plan, your 2017 land use element, and your 2025 master plan reexamination report. All of those go towards creating opportunities for economic development, create purposes for the business enterprise zone, which is the property that we were talking about as being an appropriate location.
Thank you, Ms.
For data center. And just to conclude, in my last statement, if I may, data centers are not new. They have existed for many years. Your 2025 reexamination report was adopted just over a year ago and does not raise any concerns or recommend prohibiting this as a land use, and in fact considers allowing for a variety of new innovative land uses in the community through the economic development plan, land use element, and master plan.
Thank you.
All I have.
I know my one witness, Barry Smith, did have a few more comments he would like to make. I know he was cut off. We can either address them now, or I can wait till the 5 minutes of the public comment section at the end and have him come up and address them. I prefer we dealt with it now so it's a clean record.
I think it's probably better that way. If you want to bring her back up, go ahead.
I mean, we have 5 minutes at that point too,
Just,
so.
you can take her, bring her up now.
Oh, Barry.
Thanks for the additional time. So again, I just want to go ahead and kind of finish up. I think, you've heard some of the experts there. I know you've heard about Loudoun County. Big development, one of the biggest data center metros in the world. Not saying that Millville needs to do that. There are offsets. There is an ecosystem that you can build around. So, in my view, really, this right here, this was a data center 15 years ago. You're going to play whack-a-mole if you try to outlaw data centers and the technology advancements that are coming at us at hyperspeed. So my view is really figuring out how to take advantage of it. AI is daunting. It is coming fast, and I think there's ways to take advantage of it. So to me, there are 6 conditions that I would basically look at as one of them. Keep it in the industrial zone, be safe, do on-site generation. That's just going to help the data center, help offset anything for the community. Look at water reclamation standards. Those are going up. They're becoming more efficient. Again, water data for cooling in data centers is fairly new, So the advancements are coming very quickly. They are a risk to the industry, so they're going to go ahead and address it and figure out how to solve this. Heat reuse, it's out there. You can do it at low heat. There's technology for low heat all the way up to the high intensive heats of industrials. And the noise and visual standards, again, most of that is coming from HVACs, from turbines, and things that are now easily replaced with new technology that's already implemented and in the market. So, and again, the financial benefits are there. You just need to, I'm not saying you, but so you need to structure it the right way and hold people accountable and anybody who's operating accountable. But there is a big opportunity sitting in front of you. Thank you.
And one of the questions is, these sort of things pointed out, is these don't have to look like great warehouses. They actually, architecturally, these have been designed to look more aesthetically pleasing. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I actually, I think it's part of the public record, put some of the iconic designs, everything from, we're talking about Denmark, Norway, South Korea. These are communities that really want to have, you can have different designs, you can have rooftops that are green, there's no reason for them to look like a box. Logistics centers, warehouses look like a box. There's no reason for them to do that. You can design them. I will say logistics centers too are a little bit, there's a lot of robotics going in there. So a lot of the same issues, you're going to have to look at logistics centers because the reality is they're data centers, but they're just serving logistics sites. And that's coming in throughout New Jersey because I speak to these operators of logistics sites. More and more robotics are coming in. And again, that's just more equipment.
And also, unless every municipality that services the South Jersey, South Jersey gas service area or the electric service area bans data centers, Millville will face potentially the effect that data centers be developed there without any benefit. Is that correct?
Yeah, Millville, I think the difference in, I looked at Vineland, I'm not saying I'm an expert on that bill, but I think you guys share the same gas company. So gas prices could go up if all of a sudden Vineland uses more gas. If another adjacent municipality in Cumberland County wants to build a data center, wants to use water, you may have shared water resources. So what I guess I'm positioning to say, look at that and understand for your community, they're going to basically take some of that on. So figure out how to bring back some of the benefits of a well-designed placed data center.
But there's smart planning that can require infrastructure improvements that the data center makes to make costs go down and efficiency better for these public utilities. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, even some of the, there's tariffs a lot of times that they put on, and those tariffs are used to say, build new natural gas pipelines or offset your budget. There's a lot of that goes on with any sort of new data center build, any new infrastructure build. So you have the benefit of define it. There's a lot of capital now. I can't tell you there's going to be a lot of capital in next year in 2027.
Mr. Smith, you went through a list of 5 things that can be overcome. One of the first thing you mentioned is data centers are using solid oxide fuel cells.
Solid oxide.
Oxide. What percentage of data centers out there are using solid oxide fuel cells right now today?
I couldn't tell you the percentage again. Are you talking global or talking locally? Again, we used them at Equinix 12-something years ago. I think one of the things I'll say about them is that technology has advanced very quickly and
You can't give me a number.
I can't give you a number. It would be a wrong number.
Of those solid oxide fuel cells, which you can't tell me, how many of them use a hydrogen as a fuel source?
Hydrogen is probably the furthest out. I'm going to say, like I said, natural gas, since natural gas.
Hydrogen is probably hydrogen is probably the cleanest of the three.
Hydrogen is probably, I'm going to say, I know of one major data center, but you may know of a few more, that is basically using hydrogen as their primary source. The biogas is in play, but natural gas, since natural gas and fracking, and we have an abundance of natural gas, that's really where solid oxide fuel cells have stepped in. And Bloom Energy's US based, there's Doosan, and there's a lot of other providers that are coming to the States now.
Of all the data centers being built today and that are in use today, how many of them use closed loop cooling?
Again, there's a difference in data centers. Like I'm just going to quickly, like 15 years ago, it was telco hotels, basically fiber connecting them. Again, most of that was heat exhaust, no water. Water was the enemy of electronics. Then all of a sudden it became co-location, where a whole bunch of people shut down their data centers, come in, they want to be next to their, their digital supply chain. And then basically they've moved to more cloud. So large storage centers around the globe where there's cloud. Now with AI and GPU chips, which I know that was the question, GPU chips can turn any data center now into an AI data center. So that's your factor right there that can flip something.
I'll be real quick here. You mentioned noise, that to mitigate noise, they should be put in industrial zones, which assumes that industrial zones are nowhere near people. Is that what?
That's correct. I think what I've read is in Millville that you already have that mandated for I think you have 2 industrial zones, if I'm correct.
So you would say if an industrial zone butted up against a residential zone, that might not be the heart of what you were speaking about?
I would probably say, again, there's other mitigating ways to do that with walls and the new builds and the new water there's just less noise.
You did mention waste heat. Of all the data centers being built, how many of them are actually being used to heat homes?
I would say the new builds probably, again, I think most of what I've seen in home heating has been in the Nordic area. So you got to remember that it's a cooler climate to begin with. So it just makes sense for them to go ahead and cool it. So
in Norway, there's a lot.
Mr. Smith is here to testify regarding every data center and what they're using. Each is here to testify based on his knowledge and experience, new technologies that are out there, and how each of these concerns can be addressed, which, through smart planning, you guys can require as conditions if you wanted to make it a conditional use instead of an outright ban.
Mr. Malinsky, you've quantified him as an expert. This is our chance to ask an expert questions. Is that okay with you?
That's fine if you want to
All
recognize
right.
that next.
And the last question I had, Mr. Smith, was jobs versus land use. You pretty much stood on the fact that there were a lot of construction jobs. So just to wrap up, I don't want to take too long here. Of all the data centers out there, how many of them hit on all these? They use solid oxide fuel cells, closed loop cooling. They are only in industrial zones where people can't hear them, or they have walls 100 feet high where you can't hear them. Produce waste heat for homes. Where do you think most of these data centers being built today hit on all these factors?
Again, there's different types of builds. So a lot of the noise you hear out there are for what they call large language model builds that are humongous sites sitting in the middle of what they call tier 3 and tier N locations. Those are very different than what would be built here, what's being built in Vineland as well. They're different designs or different construction. Again, I could build a data center tomorrow that's a telco data center, use heat exhaust and not have to bring in liquid cooling. The liquid cooling is because of the processing of those chips. And those are going to get better. NVIDIA is not going to put that at risk, and they're going to continue to basically improve on that efficiency.
So just to be on the record, you're not sure what the amount of data centers being built today hit on all 5 of these?
I'm not even sure globally the amount of data centers being built. So, there's a different zoning, reporting, things like that.
Real quick, Mr.
Thank you,
Smith.
Mr. Smith.
Your testimony tonight and your expertise was just in the various technologies that are out there currently being implemented or can be implemented with regard to data centers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was to indicate how each of those 5 concerns that the city could require all 5 of those conditions that be implemented in order to address their concerns through smart planning. Is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
I now have a couple questions and then just a conclusion. My first question is to the mayor, and it's a quick question. This data impact analysis you prepared, did you utilize AI to prepare that?
I'll tell you, if I can answer very quickly. You opened a document that I had mentioned when I was here on that was something that wasn't given to any of my fellow commissioners. It wasn't relied upon in their decision. It was something I did for my own edification. So you're treating that document as something that was, although I did provide it as part of the Oprah, you're treating that document as that was something that anyone in this government relied upon in making a decision. So that, well, I'll answer your question in a minute. This is not a trial, but I'll answer your question when I get to it. No one up here relied on that document to make their decision. No one in the planning board relied on that document to make their decision. That was something that I did as an exercise of self-education for myself. So I prepared a document, did some research, used AI to find lots of information on the information, absolutely used AI. And something I do like to say is just because you may like to eat bacon, but nobody wants a pig farm next to your house. So, you know, I like bacon, but I don't want to live next to a pig farm. So I hope I answered your question.
Well, that is true. That is true, but at the same time, there are brownfields that you'd like to see redeveloped. There are industrial areas where certain uses seem more oriented than others. And just to be clear, is this report going to be made part of the record this evening or not?
That report was never part of any record.
Okay. With regard to that report, since it's not going to be part of the record this evening, there's no reason to even speak about it anymore. What I would like to say is that you've heard the testimony, you've heard realistic implications that these 5 concerns have actually been addressed in an area. You asked what the square footage of Loudoun County was. It's 521 square miles, whereas Cumberland County is 678 square miles. So Loudoun County is actually smaller than Cumberland County. You know, you've heard real life benefits from data centers, and that's through smart planning. This can be addressed through smart planning where you address the power concern, where you address the cooling concern, which can be addressed through, again, power can be addressed through require on-site oxide fuel cells or similar power sources with a power generation facility. You could require that there be infrastructure improvements to the Lansing Electric's grid or the South Jersey Gas's grid. For cooling, you could require a closed-loop system, liquid cooling system, so that it's almost no water usage whatsoever, and there's limited evaporation. For noise, you can limit it into an industrial zone. Instead of using evaporative cooling, you could use, again, liquid cooling. You could require acoustic enclosures, acoustical walls. You could require distances or address it also through setbacks, certain setback requirements. You could require a certain decibel limit at the property line, okay? With regard to waste heat, you already heard it. Waste heat can be utilized to heat municipal buildings, to heat schools, to heat greenhouses. You heard it's heating apartment complexes, the Olympic pool. Actually, what's in the package, which Mr. Smith didn't get a chance to testify to, is that in some places, the waste heat is actually converted to power behind the meter, in which case it can actually provide power to the grid. So you have a zone, you have your BE, Business Enterprise Zone, which encourages traditional heavy and medium industry, as well as technology and research center use, which is a good industrial zone for this. With some planning, and actually you could realize a lot of benefits without any missed opportunities. And through smart planning, you can address all of the concerns, and you could reduce the taxes. Instead of increasing the taxes for your residents, you could put into place a development plan where you have a conditional use that actually is a huge tax income generator for your residents, so their taxes could actually be reduced, so the school systems could be assisted and improved. These are benefits that you heard that are realistic. They're not made up, they're realistic. You're someone from Loudoun County that's here that's done this, that tells you what can be utilized. So again, through smart planning, this can be a huge benefit.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
And this is the digital next revolution, as you'll see in the packet we produced, that if Millville sits out on, is going to miss the opportunity to do something great for its community.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments.
Let me know if you can't hear me, okay? Anthony DeSantis. I'd like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for patiently listening through all the experts here tonight. You know, we're not here trying to change your mind because your mind is already made up. It was told to me that when you guys got into office, that your minds were made up. I understand that. But what I don't understand is how close-minded a lot of these individuals are. You're in a situation, and the right thing to do is, if there's an issue, sit down with the people and say, hey, these are our problems. This is what we see as an issue. You know, I came to this town, and we've spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of aggravation trying to improve this place. When the buildings were demoed, the real estate properties shot up. Okay? That's progress. And I'm proud to say that we did it. When the city said we have to pay for the demolition, we said, no, we'll pay for it. And we paid for the demolition. We have no grants, no free money, no public support. Okay, we're not a burn it onto the city. So I find it disappointing that a commission that has someone who is not only rooted in the community at this point, but has very strong Wall Street contacts, companies that I brought in, and that you don't actually take the time to say, hey, you know what? Let's sit down and let's discuss this. This is our issues. Can you address them? And then you tell me nicely, you know what? We've listened to you. You're either going to say, can you maintain your promises? Or you're going to tell me, well, you know what? I gave you the opportunity and we parted as friends. To arbitrarily take investors, and this is real money we're talking about, real futures for your children and your grandkids, okay? I know you have people from Vineland over here. I know you have people who just work in grocery stores and they pump gas and they don't care about the future, but I do. I do.
No, okay, no.
So with that being said, you know, if you actually want to do something and represent the community, sit down with the professionals, address your concerns, see if they can answer them in a way that's going to benefit. And I'm not talking about my property, I'm talking about all the brownfields. We're not taking green acres, we're not taking farmland. We're talking about brownfields that you can't do anything with. Brownfields are contaminated. Have you seen the plume underneath the brownfields? They start from South Jersey gas and wind up at the river. The water is contaminated. You're not doing it justice to the city. Take a few minutes, look at those fumes. All right? Take a look at that. Take a look at the brownfields, how contaminated, how they have to be cleaned up. And we're cleaning them up. But look at the other city properties, not city properties, the properties within city limits that are also brownfield, that also had former glass facilities. Again, I just want to take the opportunity and say thank you very much. Mr. Dixon, I'm sorry to call you Dan before, but you've been a gentleman with us, and I want to say thank you for your time. The others, Marissa, Constable, I know you too. The other ones I haven't met yet, but I do want to say thank you very much. I know which way you're going to vote, but like I said, I'm just disappointed. So on that note, gentlemen, ladies, have a great evening. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. DeSantis.
Hello, Wow. My name is Kaylee Henry. I live on 330 East Central Avenue, Hamilton, New Jersey. I'm from Climate Revolution Action Network. I was here back in March at the other building before the elevator was broken. And I came up and I talked to you guys and I said, hey, I think there's a data center that's being proposed to be built in Millville, and it will have catastrophic causes to our community, to everybody in South Jersey and New Jersey. And after I gave a quick 2-minute testimony, I heard from multiple of you saying how much you did not want a data center in our homes. There are so many reasons why. We listed them back in March. And I do just want to say thank you, because this town council has really shown other town councils how to actually step up, pass an ordinance, and ban these data centers and protect your community, because you work for the residents. We're here because we want to listen to you guys, because we want our issues to be heard. And what we want you guys to do, what everybody has been saying that we want all these towns in New Jersey to do, is ban data centers. Everything. Thank you. Everything that these people have said tonight, I'm glad they spoke, but none of it really related to specifically Millville, to specifically South Jersey, to specifically our residents. And that was the main issue that I was seeing. None of it was adding up all together to actually provide something that was clear and concise and positive for Millville. It will not be positive. There are a lot of negatives. Me, myself personally, I have taken down 3 data center proposals in the last 2 months. One of them being in Monroe Township, which will be done in 2 weeks. They went through something that was more catastrophic than this, and I feel like you guys will also do the same thing and do the right thing and pass this ordinance tonight. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again, guys. I'm back here with only one child in tow tonight, so we made some progress. My name is Rhiannon Clark, for the record, and I live over on Shushenko Avenue by Union Lake. And I'm going to read you tonight some portions of the statement that I gave in Vineland at their city council meeting last December. I think that in response to some of the information that we've been given tonight, that it's relevant. So to start, I just would like to read some quotes from some people who are currently living in communities that have put in data centers. These quotes were given to More Perfect Union, an investigative journalist, an investigative reporting organization. Quote, I've been here 81 years. I can't stay here. Quote, my mom has been here her whole life, 82 years. She's not happy about it, but she does want to leave. Quote, my neighbor was washing my clothes and messed up a whole load of whites because it came out stained from that brown water. Quote, this is a conversation between a journalist and a resident. Do you feel like it's safe to drink? No, I buy water. Have they addressed that? They being Meta. No, they haven't. Have you gotten any information at all? No, none at all. Quote, this is my water pressure in my kitchen, a trickle. Quote, this is where I fill up my buckets to flush my toilet. Quote, I can't breathe at home, it smells like gas outside. Quote, you know how when you light your stove and the gas seeps with that little ticking noise? That's what it smells like. Quote, my electric and gas bill is more than my car payment. Quote, the light pollution is we don't have to have a night light in the house. You can walk around the house at night and see everything. It's that bright. And personally, my favorite quote, a quote from a lawyer for Microsoft, quote, nobody really wants a data center in their backyard. I don't want a data center in my backyard. Data centers, once they're operational, don't bring a lot of jobs, end quote. So how do data centers impact communities? Jobs, a few dozen highly specialized jobs, usually hiring remotely. Electric bill increases, extreme added burden on the grid. Air quality, increased ER visits due to asthma, COPD, and other breathing issues. Water, loss of water pressure in homes, water tainted with sediment, unsafe to drink. Aquifers, which aquifers significantly impacted, which is relevant to South Jersey in particular. Cumberland County is the poorest county in New Jersey, and that is not a coincidence. This is nationwide, generally being targeted towards poor communities. So, I know you guys already likely know how many communities are banning these data centers. I'm not going to run through that, but I do want to point out that across the country right now, some of the billionaires who are trying to build these centers are showing up in communities that do not want them. And then the community members are showing up in turn, and they're accusing community members of being bussed in. And I want to ask you guys tonight, who was bussed in here? Because the room is full of your residents and a few people from Virginia, I guess. But your residents, I heard the suit from Virginia say, he said, quote, "The community should decide if they want them," the man behind me said. That's what we are trying to do here tonight, and I don't understand why we have outside interest here while the community is trying to do that. That's my concern. Thank you so much for continuing to attend to this matter. I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dwayne Gardner, Millville, New Jersey. This is not why I came tonight. You'll see me at the end. But one of the gentlemen that testified said that our electric rates could go down if we get this data center. I retired from Hope Creek Nuclear Power Plant. Currently, there are 3 closed nuclear power plants that are being reopened to feed data centers. In December of 2025, the PGM, which is the grid operator that covers New Jersey and Virginia, posted one of the highest marginal capacity rates. So you could look that up for yourself. You could find out that wherever this discount happened to the resident, I don't know. In New Jersey, with the failed energy policies, the last 15 years, our rates are going to go up. And in 2027, at that auction in December 2025, our rates are going up again. In addition to that, I lost my train of thought here. We'll just leave it at that. Last year, the State Assembly passed Assembly Bill 5462, which was to address the issue of the data centers and the electric use. That got pocket vetoed by Governor Murphy on his way out the door. President Trump also got involved with the PGM, directing them to come up with a method to regulate the energy requirements of the data centers. Now, I don't know where he got his information, but you can go Google it and look it up. Our rates will go up. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Larry. I'm from Vineland. I'm the guy that pumps gas. I don't know why it's a shot. I also work through the community and do a lot of volunteer work. If you want to keep taking shots at me, say it to my face. The data center thing, Loudoun County in Virginia, talking about it's a benefit to the community and the air is being cleaned up. That's not true. Fossil fuel backup generators and primary generation operations create significant air pollution, including a chemical called PM 2.5, which is cancerous, and it increases. According to Charles Benet in the Vineland data center, he said that's going to increase about 5% a year to the community. So that's very clean air, I guess. The cumulative water and heat pollution from multiple data centers significantly impact our fresh water resources and our wildlife habitat. I don't know if you saw the heat around data centers increases around, like the heat around the environment, you know. The closed loop water system, that's just a scam. I don't know why we keep talking about it. They said they weren't going to take water. They said it's only some water in the It's 20 million gallons of water start. That's what the Vineland guy said, but that water runs through and runs through and runs through. It's going to evaporate and it's going to become contaminated. Something has to happen with that water. And you can't just dump it back into the community. And when they're talking about collecting water from like the air, that water is now acidic. That water, again, has to be cleaned before it can be put back into the closed loop cooling system. So a lot of it's just not true. I don't know why these people that are outside members come in here and do this shit. Excuse my language. I'm sorry for interrupting. But seriously, they came here when everybody in the community said they wanted a ban, and you said you wanted a ban, and they came down here and they brought a guy from Virginia that's killing people to tell you how good it is for you. Are you serious? Like, I lived through, my grandfather used to work in the EPA. I've seen the stuff. You've seen DuPont, what it's done to Salem County. Now Cumberland, we're just poor. So all the rich jagoffs are going to come here and give you the bullshit they're going to try and sell you on. That's just the truth. It's 6 people that are paid by some other jagoff, and a resident that's mad he lost the commissioner race. Thank you.
My name's Tom McGinty. I've been in Millville all my life, practically, except when I went away to go to school. As I've said before, I've worked for EPA for 20 years. I'm a geologist. Everybody comes and says, oh, it's going to wreck my water. It's not their water. It's the state's water. Most of these people coming in here and complaining about their water have city water. Comes to them from a pipe.
No. Please do not
interrupt
the speaker.
The state allows businesses and so forth through the Bureau of Water Allocation to pull a certain amount of water, and in many cases it's limited because of shallow wells for farming and so forth and so on. Most of the data centers can reuse water. I just looked up today. One of the places that everybody says, I think it's Cortland, Georgia, big data center down there, their toilet water turned black. It's the inside of the tank from iron, and it didn't happen overnight, and the data center's new. But that Georgia company, that data center, is spending $10 million to take wastewater from their community and cool their data center. Amazon's data center down in Louisiana is spending $30 million to bring city water and city sewer to residents down there who are rural and probably are drinking their own septic, you know. Here's the well, there's the septic. But I didn't come to talk about other places. A lot of the statistics are horrible. In our area, our aquifer that we could use to cool a data center is contaminated. It's been brought up, and there's a plume from South Jersey gas area, Wheaton area, all the way to the river. Goes down probably better than 100 feet. What better place to pull that water out of the ground, treat it, clean it, use it for cooling, and put it back in the ground to flush contaminants back toward those wells. That's typical groundwater cleanup 101. Okay? As it is now, the water's non-potable. You can't drink it, can't use it, can't shower in it, can't do very much with it at all. I wouldn't wash my car with it. But, very simple process. We have that technology going on here in Millville because some of our municipal wells have been contaminated. The one at the airport, have a pack column out there. You know, the Wheaton property is ripe for brownfield development. Other areas in Millville, our airport. We have CEAs out there, contaminated soil, above the residential standard, below the industrial standard. Perfect place to put some type of development that you're banning. Not just data centers. Nipro Pharmaceutical, they also have a CEA. So you have 3 plumes of contamination just in that area alone, where it would be great to have a data center come or some other business that you intend on banning. It's bordered by Winchester and Western Railroad, a junkyard which you're banning, an EPA Superfund site that's now completed, busing, other business that's ancillary to industry around here. You have a diving guys over there. You got guys building cars. You got guys doing all kind of stuff surrounding this area. It's not a residential area where you're going to plunk a data center and the noise is going to bother somebody. I've been up to the data center 20 times. I pulled in their driveway. Can't hear any noise.
Thank you, Mr. McGee. Let me say this one more time. Nobody interrupted people who were against data centers when they were up here. Afford them the same courtesy to speak. Anyone else? All right. With that, we will close the public hearing portion. And do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
What is your motion? Is it to accept?
She had already read it earlier, but
Motion to
Madam Clerk, would you
adopt.
like to read the ordinance again?
Not to read it again, it's a motion to adopt.
Adopt, correct, yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Ordinance for second reading, item number 2, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
I'm sorry, there is a public hearing on this as well. If you'd like to comment on this item, please approach the podium and state your concerns. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes. Seeing no one at the podium, we will move on. Can we get a motion on the item?
Yes, I like to make a motion.
Second motion?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes. Resolutions, Madam Clerk?
Resolution item number 1, resolution authorizing tax and utility adjustments.
Like to make a motion.
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 2, resolution appointing the Registrar of Vital Statistics.
Like to make a motion.
Second motion?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 3, resolution authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement between the City of Millville and Millville Soccer Association.
Like to make a motion?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 4, resolution establishing fees for Millville's Hometown Heroes banner program.
Like to make a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 5, resolution authorizing the contract award of Pleasant Drive water improvements.
Make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 6, resolution authorizing special assessment of municipal liens for certain properties incurred by Millville relating to board and sewer.
Like to make a motion.
Second the motion?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 7, resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Millville authorizing the city to advertise for bids for Geisinger Avenue Water Improvements Project.
Make a motion.
Second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 8, resolution appointing municipal claims coordinator.
Yeah, we're appointing our personnel director,
to this position. Like to make a motion?
Second the motion?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 9, resolution authorizing the execution of an application to the New Jersey Urban Enterprise Zone Authority for first-generation funds not to exceed $100,000 to fund cameras for the Millville Urban Enterprise Zone.
So this is the start of the funding for the cameras that we're going to be utilizing for the UEZ in the city. It's a step in the right direction for public safety, and it's something that the businesses and the citizens of Millville have asked for a long time. So I'd like to make a motion.
Second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Resolution item number 10, resolution appointing alternate member 2 to the zoning board, Thomas Maury.
Yeah, I don't know, Mayor, if you want to talk about it, but we've known him for a little while, and I think he's going to make a good addition, and like you said before, just another resident wants to step up and help out.
Absolutely. He's a good, we've known him, actually, I think we graduated with him. The class of '88 is stepping up to help out the city, and very happy to have Mr. Maury on board. If you would like to volunteer for the city in any capacity, reach out to me, and we'd love to have you help out the city in whatever capacity that you think you can help out with.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second the motion?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes. Madam Clerk, any new business on the docket?
There is none, Mayor.
All right, we've now reached the public comment portion of our meeting. Anyone who would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name and address and your concerns. Please limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes.
Hello. Tamara Davis. Just a quick public service announcement. Early voting for primary elections will begin on May 26th, going through to Sunday, May 31st. So the hours will be from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then on Sunday, the 31st, it will be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The locations for early voting. First one in Bridgeton is at the All Sports Museum of Southern New Jersey, which used to be the Bridgeton Senior Center, which is located right behind the Bulldog Stadium and West Avenue School, off of West Avenue. The Women's Club right here on 300 East Street, and the Vineland Fire Department, which is on 400 West Plum Street. If you choose to vote by mail, please get your mail-in ballots ASAP, and the best method to get it back to the Board of Elections so it could be counted would be to put it in the box, the mail-in ballot boxes, and there's one located right in the back of City Hall. Then you don't have to deal with any kind of delays from the post office. So if you have any questions about voting, or your, if you can vote, if you want to register to vote, please call the Department of Elections. They're always there to help you, or the county clerk. Please don't put it out on Facebook, because you'll get 1,356 different answers, and probably about one of them might be correct. So I highly urge you to call the Board of Elections should you have any questions about receiving a ballot, your affiliation, whatever it may be. So voting is very important. I know this is a primary election, but it's just as important as any election that is there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Davis, that box is near the tax window in the back,
Yes, in the
correct?
back. That's right. Absolutely.
Ms. Davis, can I ask you a question?
It depends. If I can answer it, if not, I will get the answer for you.
Are there any Republicans on this ballot, or is it just a Democrat primary that's on the ballot? Do you know?
Well, their ballots are going out for both Democrat and Republicans, so you will get a sample ballot will go out tomorrow. So today or tomorrow, they're being mailed out. So yes, there are choices on both sides, but it is for you to review and take a look at it. Oh, and one else that's very important, and this happens, please don't do this, please do not confuse your sample ballot with a mail-in ballot. So don't put your sample ballot back in the mail and mail it back to the Board of Elections. It does say sample. So if you receive a mail-in ballot, you know, just be very careful on that. So that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again, this is why I came. My name's Dwayne Gardner, I live at 60 Parecket Drive, and I'm here to complain about the condition of my street. To drive down my street, it's like skiing a slalom between the potholes. 2 months ago, the sewer department was doing an inspection of the sewer pipe and got their camera stuck. They dug a hole that's 9 by 14, and they still haven't fixed it. When the gas utility upgraded my gas service, it was fixed within a week, and then they came back and did a final patch like a month later. According to your own ordinance, it's $1,000 a day fine when you don't do that, but somehow the sewer utility is exempt from that in Millville. So I'm kind of wondering if we can't seem to get this fixed, if I could turn around and appeal my property tax assessment, since I now live at the end of a dirt road. I'd just like to know when this is going to get fixed.
Mr. Gardner, I will say that I did sit in on a meeting about a week ago, and we talked about the priority of the roads. We do have some money available to do some roads, and your road was definitely something that was one of the first things mentioned.
The patch or the road?
No, the entire road.
What, is the dirt going to be there until they get around to finding the money for this?
All I can tell you is what I talked about in the meeting, and Parecket Drive was one of the ones that we had put on the list as a priority, or talked about as a priority. That's really all I can say.
Well, since the sewer, water and sewer is a public, municipal public utility that's self-liquidating under New Jersey Revised Statute Title 40A, they should have the money. They could just raise the rates on their own. They don't even need you. So I don't understand why it's not fixed. You make the gas company fix it. Why don't we make the sewer utility fix it?
Mr. Gardner, I thought you were speaking of the entire road.
I'm talking about the hole in front of my house right now.
I can't comment on that. I was just trying to help you out with the, letting you know that Parecket Drive as a whole was discussed as far as a priority to pave the entire road. That's all I can say. I just thought I'd help you out with that, but.
Thank you.
Sorry if I can't. Didn't help you out.
Lynn Pareka, Millville. The budget presentation was very good, and I really appreciate you went into such depth. I do have some questions, though I didn't understand all of it. I didn't really understand the $1.9 million error, if that increased taxes or didn't. When you explained it, it didn't make sense to me. There was $1 million under the revenue for tax appeals, and that's been there for years. And all of a sudden it's gone. I didn't know if that made the tax rate go down or go up, or how that affected it, or why that disappeared. The sewer and the water from the budget, it looked like the sewer department was okay. It looked like water might be in trouble, and it looked like the trash might be in trouble. So I didn't know if there was any talk about those rates going up also, so the taxpayers could get hit with that, plus the increase. And CRP is supposed to be settled this year. I realize it can't go on this budget. That's supposedly going to be $10 million. I didn't know if that just goes into a fund, if that, I know in your presentation you talked about don't waste it on just lowering taxes. So I didn't know what the plans for that money was. And also, I just don't understand from the commission. This budget is crazy in my mind. It's high. I realize there's issues, and I'm sure there's a million excuses and reasons. There's ways to increase revenue that I see are not going up. Just as an aside, I'm getting way late, but construction permits do not help the budget. That is supposed to be a zero functioning department. So increasing it is great, but it's supposed to go right out the door, and it's not supposed to help the tax rate. I don't understand why there was no discussion among the commissioners about this budget. You should have had questions for each other. You should have talked about it. You should have at least said, we're really sorry we're doing that to you. This is the best we can do. We are going to look for ways to increase revenue and to move forward. But nothing in the work session, nothing tonight, and you vote yes. I don't get it, because you couldn't meet together or you violate sunshine laws. So that means none of you discussed with each other what was going on. Maybe one of you each, but you're not supposed to go one to one to one and do it that way either. So I don't get it. It's supposed to be transparent. You should have discussed it. You're affecting people's lives. It may sound like it's only $400 a year or $500 a year. That's a lot of money for people now. Groceries are crazy, everything's crazy, and this is going to be a burden to a lot of people, especially when they get hit with the escrow going up greatly whenever that happens in January. Thank you.
Sorry. I wanted to come back up again and actually thank you for following through when you were sworn in. We had the conversation about data centers, and it's really cool to see them finally banned. And I do spend a lot of time in Millville, like fall 2025. I spent like every day sleeping on Jim Quinn's broadcasting couch, trying to do the elections. And I do try to organize young people and get them involved in politics. And I am a board member of Sustain SJ, and I'm trying to run around the state and stop these data centers. But it's really cool to see a city lead the way in Cumberland, because I'm getting really concerned about other spots in Cumberland. So thank you for being leaders and sticking to your word. That's all. Thank you.
Seeing no one at the podium, I will close the public comment portion of the meeting. Let's,
Do a resolution for close.
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, you can close the comments, but I have to make that announcement before we go into executive session.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I have to, go ahead and close the publics, and then I'll do my.
I think I already did. All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we're going into executive session to discuss a personnel matter. I anticipate this discussion will take roughly 20 minutes or so. Is that fair, Roy? If for some reason the discussion goes further than 20 minutes, I'll come back out and alert you as to how much more time we anticipate we'll need. You should be aware that following this closed session, the body may return here, and action may or may not be taken by this governing body. Okay, thank you. Ed, just so for the record, it is now 8:37, so a few minutes before 9 o'clock. If we're not finished, we'll be back out to give you an update.
All right, can I get a motion to move into closed session?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes. to bring this meeting back to order. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mayor, we just need a motion to approve a resolution to approve a settlement agreement with Pam Shapiro.
Like to make a motion?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes. Like to make would anybody make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Like to make a motion?
Hold on.
Sorry.
You didn't give your public comments for the elected officials. If you have them, now's the time to give it, and if there's no comments, then you could adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Are there any comments from any of the commissioners?
I have none, Mr. Mayor.
Not at this time.
None.
Having no comments from commissioners, I'd like a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Like to make a motion?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cott?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Dixon?
Yes. With that, we are adjourned.
All right.